Have you ever decluttered your physical space, but somehow you don't feel any lighter? I feel that I have gotten rid of a lot of unwanted things in my physical environment, and that does feel freeing, but there are moments when I am sitting in my decluttered space and I'm still feeling overwhelmed and cluttered. Maybe it's time to look a little deeper and figure out what may be causing these feelings and tackle possible emotional clutter. In this video, I will explain what emotional clutter can look like and 5 strategies to declutter our emotions. Welcome to my channel. I'm Maria, and if you're feeling overwhelmed and tired and would like tips about simple and healthy living, then spend some time with me. So, what is emotional clutter? It's easy to define physical clutter because we can see it, which makes it easier to deal with. While I do think that having a less cluttered environment will help your emotional clutter, being emotionally cluttered can also affect our physical clutter. So emotional clutter are feelings and thoughts that weigh us down. And unlike physical clutter that can be discarded, emotional clutter can recur. It can take the form of negative self-talk and distracts us from the good in our life. Examples include thoughts such as, I feel so overwhelmed. I do everything around here. I can't do this, referring to your situation. I can't work and be a mom. I'm a bad mother, wife, or friend. No one appreciates me. I wish I was smarter or more successful, in better shape, or whatever else we are comparing ourselves to. So, how can we unclutter our emotions? Here are 5 strategies that can help you. First, identify your emotions. Some common emotions that can paralyze us are fear, anxiety, stress, indecisiveness, anger, overwhelm, guilt, regret, frustration, bitterness, discouragement, and the list goes on. Sometimes some of these feelings are a natural response to our circumstance, such as feeling sad when we lose a loved one, or discouragement when we don't get a job, or overwhelmed when we have too much to do. However, while it's healthy to acknowledge these feelings and work through things, it's not good to let these feelings take over our days and cripple us. So now that you have identified these emotions, what can you do? This leads me to strategy number 2. Second, journaling. I have talked about this technique many times and made a short about it. You can find it up here or in the description below. Journaling has so many benefits, one of which is what is referred to as a brain dump, where you write whatever is on your mind. Pretend that your journal is a close friend who is the best listener and pour your heart out. When I'm feeling overwhelmed, I like to do this before I go to bed. Otherwise, all those thoughts and feelings that I have will keep me up at night. Sometimes we just need to unload. And while talking to a good friend or family member helps, they may not be available, or maybe we've already told them and you don't want to burden them any further. There are times where I write many pages until my hand hurts, but then I feel better after writing everything down. Third strategy, you can do this while you're journaling or separately, but identify the cause of your emotions. For example, I was feeling overwhelmed because I had way too much to do between work and home, and I wasn't managing my time well. Then I was also feeling extremely frustrated over a circumstance I was having where I couldn't see a solution. So, between all that I had to do, my lack of time management, and inability to come up with a solution, I identified the cause of my feeling of overwhelm and frustration. So, now that you have identified the cause, what next? Fourth, before you start down the spiral of I can't do this, it helps to sort the causes of your emotion into 2 mental piles. Things you can do something about and things you cannot. Whatever is causing your emotional clutter, there will be things you can do something about and others not so much. For example, when I was feeling overwhelmed with balancing work and home life and that I was not managing my responsibilities well, I started thinking, what can I do? What are some things where I can take steps or manage? Things such as better time management by prioritizing tasks, cutting out unnecessary fluff, and saying no or things within my control. Specific examples include prioritizing time to make healthy meals for my family and keeping up with my weekly goals for work. Then there are things I can't control, such as situations that come up that pull our attention from our priorities. I realize that I'm the type of person who just wants to get things done, and each day I set my goals. I plan out my day by the hour and tackle tasks. So when something comes up, such as an illness affecting myself or a family member, or something breaks down, like my garbage disposal, which stopped working a few weeks ago, I feel that overwhelm creep in because I know things will be delayed. But here's the thing, I have to be flexible and reprioritize. And if the delay will affect others, I just let them know, and then we can come up with a solution together. My fifth strategy is to set boundaries. We all have our limits. I know I do, in terms of time, skills, and desires. I love the quote by Courtney Carver that says, "I don't say no because I am busy. I say no because I don't want to be busy." Prevention is key in health and for preventing any type of clutter. We usually know how much we can handle and do well, and what would tip the scales to make us unbalanced and unable to manage. When my children were young, I was bad at setting boundaries and said yes to too many things because I felt that I needed to be as involved as possible. As a result, I don't feel that I did as good a job as I could have. Eventually, I cut out a lot of activities that didn't align with my goals so that I could manage my schedule. Even now, I have to watch what I put in my time. There's a lot that I want to do, but I have to look at each item through the lens of my priorities, and if what I'm considering is not in line with any of them and saying yes will make me too busy to enjoy a slower lifestyle, then I say no. What do you think? Do you have any emotions that you would like to unclutter? Hit the like button if you do, then share a strategy that either I mentioned or that you have to unclutter your emotions that helps. We can all learn from each other. Then subscribe for future content on simple living for a healthy life. Want more tips about simplifying? Watch this video next and see you over there.